What's up guys, welcome back to another Edge of Fate video. For those of you that don't know, I recently had the chance to visit Bungie HQ and get some hands-on time with the Edge of Fate early, and I wanted to thank Bungie for having me and all of the devs that I had the pleasure of interacting with for being so welcoming and receptive to my feedback. I also wanted to use this opportunity to drop a quick but necessary disclaimer that this is an early test build and anything covered is subject to change for the general release. I was able to view and cover all sorts of content from the Edge of Fate. I wanted to quickly mention that there's going to be a playlist linked in the top right of the screen now where you can find all of my content and videos related to the upcoming DLC. From new exotics, gameplays and reviews, the new stat system broken down in depth, the new endgame loot from activities such as Trials of Osiris, new PvE abilities and mechanic, builds, new origin traits which you can now enhance, you name it, you can find all of it here on one condensed playlist. We have 5 tiers of weapons in the Edge of Fate, each of which is an improvement over the previous tier. All of these are objective buffs and make the weapon stronger each tier, and at the top end of the spectrum, tier 5, we see some amazing cosmetic options, some of which are debuting for the first time in Destiny's history. I touch on this in far more detail in my gear tier video, which will be linked to the top right of the screen now. This video is going to focus on the upcoming loot. So we're going to try and keep it to a simple explanation of the gear tiers and then show you some of this cool loot. Here's a quick visual comparison of a tier 1 weapon compared to a tier 5 weapon. As you can see, it's a night and day difference, and these tier 5 weapons are going to become the goal for any veteran Destiny 2 player. Of course, this is a comparison between the lowest and highest tier of a weapon. So what comes in between these? Well, as you can see, tier 1 weapons are entirely basic. You have your barrel, mag, 2 perks, masterwork, nothing crazy here or out of the ordinary at all. Moving up to tier 2, these weapons will drop with pre-enhanced traits and then will function just like today's crafted weapons. At tier 3, weapons will have a 3rd perk option to select from in both slots, as well as access to the new enhanced mods, which we'll get into in a second. Tier 4 weapons will have enhanced traits and mods, 2 perk options to choose from, as well as enhanced barrels and magazines for the first time in Destiny. And then at the top end, tier 5 weapons will have all of the above, enhanced traits, 3 perk options to choose from in both columns, enhanced barrels, magazines, even enhanced origin traits, and then some amazing new cosmetics. Tier 5 weapons will feature a unique ornament, just like our hollow foil and shiny weapons we've become accustomed to since Into the Light first introduced them, as well as an entirely new cosmetic slot for kill effects. Think in the mind of a sweaty confetti enjoyer, you no longer need to sacrifice your mod slot just to use this. You can always run a new enhanced mod on a tier 5 weapon, as well as a unique kill effect. I want to note that these tier 5 shiny ornaments are always animated, and even if you apply a shader with no animated effect, it will change the color scheme but still keep that amazing, cool, moving skin. I personally love how much these tier 5 weapons have going for them and how much better they look, and I know I'll personally be grinding for all of the best loot that the Edge of Fate has to offer. Now I've explained the weapon tiers and what you can expect to get when you get a tier 1 to a tier 5 drop, let's have a look at the 3 brand new archetypes coming in the Edge of Fate. There are 3 entirely new weapon archetypes coming to the game, and these are as follows. We now have high impact longbows. These bows are slower drawing but harder hitting with the ability to over-penetrate targets, and while I haven't historically been much of a bow enjoyer, the idea of getting a collateral with an arrow in PvP is really cool to me and I'm excited to try it out. Next up we have a really interesting one. Ever since Rocket's sidearms came to the game, they've been incredibly prevalent and a fan favorite. Bungie saw this and ran with it. So for the first time ever, I present to you the Rocket Frame Pulse Rifle. This feels incredibly strong. I was kind of mind blown by how fast I was shredding through some of the more powerful and higher HP targets in PvE. However, the trade-off is that you will run through ammo really fast with this. Make sure to keep that in mind and monitor your ammo economy at all times. And the third and final new archetype that I am by far the most excited for is the Spread Shot Hand Cannon. It sounded weird to me at first, cool idea, but it could so easily be underwhelming in action, but boy was I wrong. These things are absolutely insane. I have no doubt that if they stay just as powerful at release as they were in the build we were playing, these will find a very comfortable spot in the meta. They have the ability to 2-tap to the body from pretty significant distances, and you can take someone down with one body shot and a melee. And of course, being a primary, they have infinite ammo. To me, it kind of felt like I was running around with a lightweight frame shotgun with infinite ammo, and I was blown away by how useful this thing really was. For those of you that are sick of the shotgun apes we've historically seen in Destiny, I mean, you better get used to it because I do not think you're going to like this one. Now we've touched on the 3 new archetypes being added, it's time to take a look at some of the more interesting specific loot, starting with the Trials of Osiris weapon. Trials of Osiris will feature one of these new spread shot hand cannons, the Aureus Neutralizer. This of course is what a tier 5 version of the weapon looks like, having everything possible masterworked, and look how sexy this thing is. Some of you may have noticed we have new Trials and Crucible origin traits that are now enhanceable. These traits are a PvP player's dream, so I'll touch on these briefly too. First off, we have the new Trials origin trait, Fleet-footed. Dealing damage grants you a short window of increased movement speed and airborne effectiveness. Landing a final blow increases these effects. Sounds insane, every PvP player wants AE, and getting it just for hitting a bullet and dealing damage seems like a very consistent benefit in the Crucible. And now for the new Crucible origin trait, Roar of Battle. Being in combat for a short duration increases handling and stability. Handling and stability are always nice to have on weapons. I think this will be particularly beneficial on shotguns and close range stuff, but really nice buff overall. These new origin traits will become mainstays in the Crucible for sure. I love that Bungie are leaning into PvP weapons, having an objective buff inside of PvP. On tier 5 weapons of any Crucible and Trials weapon, you will also of course have the enhanced version of these origin traits, but we don't know the numbers for these yet. The next new Trials of Osiris weapon is going to be the Auric Disabler. The Auric Disabler is an absolute monster, and in the internal playtest we were playing, pretty much everyone started using it. It's a 450 RPM precision frame auto rifle with all the bells and whistles. We were given certain random rolls, and while we were able to ask for more, I didn't want to overdo it and be that annoying guy from Reddit telling the devs that my RNG is awful and I need more loot. Instantly you can see the new origin traits are enhanced. We have Sword Logic, Lone Wolf. This thing has got a lot going for it, and I have no doubt we're going to become very familiar with this gun in the Crucible. Some of the previous Trials weapons have also had a facelift and given that tier 5 upgrade. Guns like the Unwavering Duty Machine Gun, the Aisha's Embrace Scout Rifle, and the Forgiveness Sidearm have all received this buff. There's very likely going to be more available at release, however these are the ones that were applied to our accounts in the test build. As for exotics, we're going to be very briefly touching on this as they are important to the loot. However, there will be dedicated videos to the 2 new exotics on the channel playlist. No introduction needed for this one. First, we have the New Land Beyond. This is usable in the current live version of Destiny for those who have pre-ordered the Edge of Fate. We have the Graviton Spike exotic hand cannon. Many of you will likely recognize this gun from all the promotional trailers for the Edge of Fate, and I'm really glad that it did live up to the hype. This gun is just amazing. Then finally for the exotics, we have the 3rd iteration. I was actually blown away by how powerful this gun was. It's very unique and definitely exceeded my expectations when I actually got some hands-on time with it. Once again, sorry to breeze over the exotics, but like I said, there will be dedicated videos for both the Graviton Spike and the 3rd iteration if you want to see more gameplay and opinions on how they actually function in game for both PvE and PvP. Now we're moving on to a big ticket item. During Into the Light, we saw the return of the Lunar's Howl, but we kind of all wish for something else. That wait is over, and we're finally seeing the return of the not forgotten, now named the Solemn Remembrance, the only suitable replacement for the Rose in comp. Not Forgotten 2.0 features a staggering perk pool with everything a PvP player could ask for. It's completely stacked and will definitely give you a reason to play comp again. As you can see, the Solemn Remembrance also features grips instead of origin traits that are also enhanced on the tier 5 version. From the world loot pool, we have the new Precipial precision frame shotgun. Think of a Matador but tier 5. This shotgun boasts incredible PvP perks while having access to enhanced barrels, magazines, traits, etc. I think the new king of pellet shotguns is definitely here. Stars and Shadow 390 RPM high impact pulse rifle is back and better than ever. Here we can see a tier 5 version stacked with perks like Zen Moment, Desperado, and Sword Logic. And because this is a Crucible weapon, it's also of course featuring the new Roar of Battle trait enhanced. Next up we have the new rocket assisted frame pulse rifle I was talking about, the Mint Retrograde. This is the only rocket frame pulse rifle we had access to in our build, and as you can see, we have some really interesting perks here. Things like rewind rounds, bait and switch, master of arms are all very interesting on a weapon like this. You can also see that the rate of fire is a staggering 200, which I think is what surprised me the most about this weapon. It shoots so fast and deals such high DPS that it felt like it's better than most special weapons in the current sandbox. However, as I explained earlier, this 200 RPM does cause you to absolutely shred through your ammo reserves very quickly. Continuing on the theme of rocket frame weapons, we have a new solar rocket sidearm to take over from the Aberrant Action. This is the returned memory that comes from the Crucible playlist. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to use this or learn any roles, and I had to take this footage from collections. I didn't actually get one to drop, but as you can see, it comes with a new Crucible origin trait. I really enjoy the weapon design of this thing. Here we have a seasonal Kepler weapon. The Last Thursday 390M Adaptive Frame Pulse Rifle is another fully decked out tier 5 weapon that features perks like Moving Target and Head Seeker. I didn't get any other rolls on this one, so I'm not certain how deep and stacked the perk pool is, but this is definitely one to keep your eye out for when playing the seasonal content and story. Moving on to our first ever high impact longbow, we have the Hake Mercury-A. As we can see in the intrinsic trait description, this bow actually has the ability to over-penetrate targets. Nothing super crazy to note from the perk pool here other than that kinetic tremors is incredibly strong on bows, and if you don't already have the Accured Redemption from Garden of Salvation, you have a shiny new option. Next up, we have the Faustus Declined Sidearm at a tier 5 rarity. This is a 360 RPM lightweight frame sidearm that I actually do love the design of due to the silencer. Fortunately, the Radiant Dance Machine nerf was put into the game before this gun was added, because as you can see, we have the hip fire grip and offhand strike enhanced roll. This would have been crazy. Now for another spread shot hand cannon that is available outside of playing Trials of Osiris if PvP isn't for you, we have the Phoneutria Fera from Hake. Interesting idea to use something like Barrel Constrictor on this, but I didn't get a chance to test it myself. I was a little bit too busy enjoying the Trials of Osiris version, and we did have limited time. Richard Jackal is back, sporting the new name, the Shoreline Dissident. Fortunately, I only had the chance to inspect and use a low tier version of this gun, but it does come in a tier 5 version. It's a rapid fire 140 RPM, so nothing too crazy, but cool that it's back. Here we have a tier 1 basic version of the new micro-missile arc grenade launcher, the Theodolite. Nothing crazy here, nice to have an arc option for the breach GL slot though. Moving on to the Cure Nilus, a 900 RPM strand submachine gun. As you can see from the enhanced traits and the dots in the top right of the UI, this is a tier 2 version of the weapon. I used it a little bit, kind of felt like a regular 900 SMG, but of course I didn't have access to the complete perk pool and wish I did get some hands on time with the tier 5 version of the weapon. Now we're going to take a quick look at the 720 RPM rapid fire auto rifle from Kepler. This is a tier 1 version of the weapon that actually came with a pretty solid set roll. We were given a tier 5 of this weapon also, but I was having way too much fun with the new Trials auto to give this thing its fair shot. But any 720 RPM auto rifle enjoyers, keep an eye out for this thing. I feel like heavy weapons have been underrepresented in this video, and we didn't actually get many in the build we played. The final gun we're going to take a look at for diversity is the Ulterior Observation Stasis Aggressive Frame Machine Gun. Nothing too crazy here. I actually just got this one as a world drop when I was playing the campaign. It's a machine gun. There's a ton more weapons and perks that I don't have capture footage of, but note that every single gun in this video could have come as a tier 5, so anything you saw at tier 1, don't judge it too harshly because you could have a fully enhanced, shiny cosmetic kill effect. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and as I explained earlier, there is a dedicated playlist to any of my Edge of Fate early content, which you can see in the top right of the screen now, or linked at the end card of this video. I would highly recommend watching the gear tiers video to get a better understanding of these systems, and a far more in-depth explanation of everything going on here, as well as armor. Really hope you enjoyed, and please do let me know which weapons you're the most excited to get your hands on when Edge of Fate releases publicly. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask and I'll try to answer, or if I can't, then maybe I can reach out to a dev for clarification. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.